I've known Sir for a very, very long period of time. We've been sitting on television conversations. Very clear and forthright. Earlier spokesperson, now of course, Member of Parliament, the Rajya Sabha. Nasir Hussain ji, a huge debate is going on in this country based on the premise of the misuse of the Waqf board. What's your position on this?
What is that is being misused by the Waqf board? And then we have been asking this in JPC for long. What is it that is being misused? The entire Waqf amendment bill has been brought and based on the misinformation that has been spread by the BJP ecosystem in this country. Look at the accusation. They say that Waqf board can take away any land by just claiming it is their land. Can, in any democratic country, there can be a law through which any organization can claim any land as its own without relevant papers or without relevant documents? They say Waqf has 9 lakh acres of land, 10 lakh acres of land. I would say that 85% of Indian villages or 90% of Indian villages, there are Muslims. So wherever there are Muslims, there will be a masjid, there will be a qabristan, there will be a dargah, there will be a Eidgah, donated by someone or the other at some point of the time. So obviously there will be land. According to the proportion of the communities that are living in this country, there will be their religious places. There will be their properties belonging to religious places. So I think the kind of information that the misinformation that is being spread, that is something which we need to counter.
Secretary, but does the Waqf in principle have the powers to acquire or claim land regardless of private property or public property anywhere in the country?
See, Waqf board doesn't have any power to register any land as its land, number one. First of all, Waqf board in this country doesn't have even an inch of land which they can say it is theirs. All these properties or lands belong to a particular institution or a particular Waqf in a particular place. They don't belong to the Waqf board. Waqf board is only a supervising board kind of a thing or a custodian of these properties. They don't own any land. One. Two, every inch of land in this country can be registered only by the revenue authorities. It cannot be registered by the Waqf board.
So what are the cases then? Are we mistakenly assuming things when, for example, in Kerala, we heard a case of the Waqf board unilaterally claiming land. Is this an assumption or are these anecdotal cases only?
See, that is what, no? In that particular case, I am told that there is a judgment of the court which says that land belongs to the Waqf. I would like to explain here. See, in many of the states, especially in Karnataka, in Telangana, Tamil Nadu and all, there were acts like Land Reform Acts were there, Inam Abolition Acts were there, Land Sealing Acts were there. Through these acts, lands were taken away from lots of people, including Waqf, and redistributed among the poor and the farmer. But after that, there are judges in High Court, there are judgments in High Courts and Supreme Court saying that once a Waqf is always a Waqf, that nobody can take it. So that's the reason why the Waqf board is claiming the land that was taken away by the government and given to some other person. So now it's a conflict between an act passed by the state government and the judgment passed by the court.
Okay.
So someone should step in, and obviously the state government will step in and say we'll implement both, and compensation will be given to either of them.
Okay. The other point of conflict is the Archaeological Survey of India. The Archaeological Survey of India says that there are more than 250 protected monuments under the ASI which are being claimed by the Waqf.
See, ASI, when they came to JPC, they had said it is 120. There's a newspaper reporting which says that it is 250. But the point is, if there is a masjid which was built about 300 years, 400 years, 500 years back, and worship, there is namaz going on in that masjid, and if the ASI says that it should be a protected monument, it can be a protected monument, but at the same time, the nature of worship or the nature of place can't be changed. So if the namaz is going on, it will be Waqf, and it will also be a protected monument. Something has to be worked out there.
Okay, this is not only an issue right here at the center, sir, it's also been an issue in your home state of Karnataka. What is the position of the Congress government in Karnataka on this?
See, Congress government is very clear. 1995 Act, as amended in 2013, should be implemented in toto. If there are any issues, that has to be sorted out by the authorities there in the government and in the bureaucracy.
In the end, sir, if there is an assumption being made that we want to take away governance or government, whether at state and center, from religion, when it comes to both Hindu institutions, temples where government rules, the Waqf you mentioned also has representation from government. Is government's business to be running religious institutions or religious properties?
See, no, it is not solely government business to run the religious institutions, but at the same time, there should be some sort of a monitoring by the government. It should be basically a democratic body. There should be elected people in that. There should be domain in-charges, domain specialists in that. There should also be government representatives to oversee as to what is happening there. Number one. Number two is that there is this misinformation being spread that there is only Waqf board, there's nothing else for the Hindu community, nothing else for the Jain community. I think almost all the communities have some sort of an administrative structure in some form of the other. Every state has, say, in some state it is called as endowment board, somewhere it is Muzrai department, somewhere it is Hindu Places Worship Act, somewhere it is Hindu Religious Places Act. It is there. 19-20 का फर्क हो सकता है. More or less the same powers are there for everyone. See, I am a Muslim, I am a member of JPC, I am a member of Waqf Board, I am an MP. I would say, let there be similar powers or similar provisions to all the boards of all the communities, and let them have the freedom of governing their own religious institutions.
Okay, I know our time is limited, sir, but you are a member of the JPC. The JPC has asked the Karnataka Yogalukta to submit a report on Waqf properties. Should it?
No, all boards in the country have been asked to, we have given them a list of queries. We have asked them to give us as to how many registered Waqf properties are there, how many unregistered are there, how many properties encroachment is there, how many has been sold out or taken away, how many disputes are there. I think most of the states have given that, some of the states are yet to give. And that will be one good information for the JPC to have an idea as to how many disputes are there, and disputes with whom. What is the nature of dispute is also very important, because if this kind of an information is being spread that Waqf versus Muslim versus Hindu, Waqf is taking away Hindu land, Waqf is taking away that community's land and all. I think I would say I've been a member of Karnataka State Board of Waqf for the last 6 years. 99% of the cases of the Waqf Board are either with the Muslims themselves or with the government.
Okay, but there remains a perception which you are saying is being created by one particular party, but we'll have to see how it goes. Nonetheless, you're a member of the JPC itself.
200%, I would like to say this is the misinformation that is being created by the ecosystem of the Sangh Parivar and the BJP, only to polarize, to divide, and create an environment where they want to say, see, Congress or the other parties didn't have the guts to do this. This is what we are doing.
Okay.
The entire amendment, I would once again like to assert here, that is being brought on the basis of the misinformation that has been spread in this country through social media and the electronic media to polarize and to divide the country into different
Mr.
elections. Thank
Jagdambika
you so
Pal,
much.
who's chairman of the JPC, will be sitting with us this evening for a contrarian point of view. Nonetheless, Syed Nasir Hussain, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Gulati.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nasir Hussain, for taking our time for this. I request Kartikeya Sharma ji to please present a token of our appreciation to Mr. Syed Nasir Hussain.